Hey everybody, another edition of Revisit, and well, it's not hard to revisit this guy. I've known him for a long time and been a big fan of his school and the work that he's done over at Oak Lawn Richards High School. Of course, Tony Sheehan joining us. And pal, I've mentioned this to all the coaches I've talked to so far. It's just good to see you.
It is. It's good. It's good to be back, and thanks for having us on. We appreciate all the coverage you give, and you do a great job for the kids. And yeah, it's good to be back. It's good to have something. You know, who knows what's going to happen in this spring still, but you know, it's good to have something for the kids. They really need it, and it's
amazing. It's amazing, Tony. How, I mean, if we would have had this discussion 2 weeks ago, how much different the tone would have been.
I 2 weeks ago, I didn't think anything was happening. You know, being the high risk, I didn't see that being changed. And then obviously that press conference happened, and all of a sudden everyone's allowed to play. And, you know, as long as you get to phase 4, you can play games. I was ecstatic.
Yeah. And just the feedback and response from your kids, I'm sure that had to have been tremendous as well.
Oh yeah, you know, phone started blowing up, texts, calls. Is this real? Is it, you know? And I said, yeah, this is real. This is going to happen, and you know, we got to be prepared. And then, you know, I sent out a tweet and even texted the kids, hey, look, you got to be patient. And on Google Classroom, there's a lot of questions that got to be answered. There's a lot of questions that got to be asked, you know, and it's going to be a process. So you got to slow down. Yes, we're going to do this, but when it's going to happen, how it's going to happen, and even, you know, there's still questions now that, you know, are going unanswered that we'll find out as we go along. It's going to be a process, but it's a good process to be in.
I got to imagine one of the biggest questions on your mind going into this is just how ready physically are your kids? How do you even go about starting to assess that?
You know, the good thing is a lot of our kids, we're back in school in a hybrid model. So they're in 2 days a week. A lot of our kids are they're in PE classes where, you know, they're obviously stagger out and they are getting some work done. They were in a class where the teacher was working them out at home and had them doing workouts at home on camera, and they were busting their butts, which was great to see. You know, he'd tell us they were working real hard. You know, on Google Classroom, we were putting up at home workouts. The guys were sending us pictures of them outside working together and doing things. Seeing guys come back to school now, most of our guys, there's a handful who aren't back yet, but most of them, they put on size, which is good to see. They look good. They, you know, maturing. We're going to be a young team. I think we got only about 10 or 11 seniors who are going to be playing in the spring. So we're going to be very young. I would say we're going to start anywhere from probably 17, 18, maybe 19 juniors or sophomores. So we really needed to play, and this spring is going to be great. It's going to be spring ball, so we're going to treat it like that. We're going to get a lot of guys reps, and we're going to get better so that when we come to the fall, we're ready to go.
I mean, obviously you had gone through, and everyone's gone through just completely different time with this. I mean, the biggest challenge in that I always wonder from your standpoint, from a coach's standpoint, I mean, how do you keep kids involved and on board during what almost a year-long pandemic? How did that go? How are you able to manage it and keep them as at least invested as they possibly could during all that time?
This is a great group. I'll tell you, they're chomping at the bit to get going. All year they've been ready to go. They've been working on their own. We set up a Google Classroom for our levels, and especially varsity. You know, over summer we were allowed a few contact days. I think we did about 12. They were, you know, all showed up. Usually, you know, we have buses that bring some kids in. There were no buses. They showed up on their own. They got rides on their own. They were setting it up together. They were going off and throwing on their own and together. You know, we did Zoom meetings over the summer. We do one day where it was an offense. The next day it would be a defense, and those guys were all showing up. They've been invested the whole time. And then we had contact days in the fall. Numbers were fantastic, and just the energy level and the enthusiasm these kids brought, it kind of brought us up, you know, and that was great to see. They were motivating us to do more than we normally do, and you know, that was it. That's the best part. And like I said, this group, really wants to play. They love each other. They like being around each other. And it's great to see, because, you know, like anybody else, there's years that doesn't happen. There's the investment's not there. Or you don't have the leadership by the kids, you know. This group, there's leaders, and they want to get after it, and they want to do it. Now we're back. Yesterday was our first day back lifting after school in kind of groups, segmented groups. You know, we're just trying to do our core lifts in about a 40-minute period, get one group in, next group comes out. So, you know, numbers were great yesterday. We can go 3 days a week. So we're going to do that. We're going to try and get in, you know, obviously with the weather and the snow, we can't get outside. You know, we're going to try and with basketball, and then when volleyball starts, we only have 2 gyms now with all the different levels. It's going to be hard. When we can sneak in, we're going to sneak in and get some work in there, you know, to keep the kids, you know, they want to go. So, and that's the great thing about it, is they're texting, hey, when can we go? When can we go? And it's, hey, you know, when we can go, trust me, we all want to go too. It's not like we're sitting back like we don't want to do anything. It's just, you know, facility wise, what we can do.
You have a great staff that works with you, and a veteran staff as well, guys that have been doing this for a long time. Was there any concern on your part as far as maybe a couple of those guys maybe stepping aside during all this? I mean, and I'm sure those guys gave a lot of this some thought as well. I mean, was that something in the back of your mind that could possibly happen?
Yeah, you know, you never know. I got a couple older guys who do have some health issues too, you know, and concerns. And, you know, in the back, it was like, hey, you know, I'm fully ready if they walk up or, you know, and say, hey, look, because of this, I can't do this, you know, for my health and my family, I can't do this. I would have completely understood. And frankly, I wouldn't have been surprised. But, you know, I had those conversations when we met over Zoom, and I said, hey, look, if anybody's uncomfortable or does not want to do this, we understand. And you know what, we'll adapt. And, you know, next year we can revisit what's going on and what's happening. But no, they all said, no, we're on board. We're going to take the precautions. We know that we're going to have a great plan to go ahead. We're going to take care of the kids. We're going to take care of us, and we're going to be as safe as possible. And, you know, the guys were all on board. But as I said, you know, it wasn't going to be surprising if a couple did say, hey, look, I got to step back right now because of my health and my family. And, you know, I'm sure that's going on everywhere, to be honest. Yeah. And it's not going to shock me if you don't see a couple guys who normally are on sidelines, not on sidelines. And I totally understand, you know, and it's, you know, and some of us, like, you know, my mom's got health issues. So, you know, I don't see my mom as much as possible, you know, as much as we would like, but, you know, we got to take care of her too. You know, we want her around for the long haul. So,
lower levels, what kind of a challenge does that present, and how are you guys planning on handling, lower levels?
Right now, the conference has decided we're going to go 2 levels. So we're going to go a varsity level and then a frost soft level. You know, we would probably have the numbers to do 3 levels, but I'm not in disagreement with 2 levels. I think we can get, you know, now there's more coaches coaching those guys. We can bring them along, you know, if possible. If there's a Saturday morning, we can get a freshman game, because our freshman numbers are very, very good in the fall. So we're going to do the best we can. There might be some sophomores we bring up that normally we wouldn't bring up, being that it's the spring and we only have 6 games, and, you know, it's more of like a spring ball kind of thing where they might not have been up on the varsity if this was another year. We'll see about freshmen. Usually, you know, we don't really bring freshmen up too much. If there's a couple kids who are, you know, size-wise, maturity-wise ready, you know, this might be the year we could do it. Just because it is spring and it's going to be a little bit different. But our numbers have been very good on the fall contact days, and then Zoom meetings. We had one Monday, and numbers were great on those, getting ready for lifting and putting them in groups. So we're excited about that, and I think it's going to help actually for next fall with number-wise and coaches, that there's going to be a lot of coaches down there on that level, you know, that they can spread out and get a lot of individualized attention more than probably a normal year.
Well, the one thing I've got to ask, and I know we talked about this before we started recording, before we start digging into your roster and who's coming back, construction. We're all patiently waiting, and no one's probably as anxious as you are to finally rip out the old grass in Oak Lawn Richards and put in turf. And where does everything stand right now?
Well, they did. Well, we're a 3-district school, so Eisenhower actually their turf was put in over the summer and fall. They got that completed in November, so they have their turf. Shepherd and us, they're going to start in March. I believe they're starting on Shepherd's first, from what I've been told the plan is, and then come in and digging ours up. So it's supposed to be mid to late March. So hopefully, you know, obviously we're going to have to adapt, and this is going to cause some issues with levels and soccer and practice facilities, because even, you know, one place where the freshmen used to practice, that's being torn up because track stuff's going there as well. So, you know, but we're excited because hopefully it's done for, you know, beginning of summer, you know, summer football next year by August, that will be on the turf. We'll be ready to go. And it's going to be a game changer for us facility wise. Now, you know, not fighting and when it rains, you know, we're not playing in mud piles. We can actually have a good practice, and you know, you're not worried about that anymore. So we're very excited. It's been long overdue. You know, when I first took over in 2008, there was talk of it. You know, plans even drawn up, and then the recession hit, and it just didn't happen. And the last few years there's been talk, but then it really went through last year. So we're very excited about that.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Totally long overdue. And I always thought, kind of from the Richards standpoint, kind of the missing piece of the puzzle in my eyes. You know, you've had the success, you've had a winning tradition that you've carried over from Gary Cohornan. And, you know, the one missing piece was, wow, if Richards could really ramp up things here facility wise and bring them in line with even with just a lot of your neighboring districts around you, just to bring it up, I think it really takes the program to a different level. So I'm very, very excited for that.
Yeah, we're hoping that this is going to be a game changer for us in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, so you mentioned this team this spring. It's going to be younger for sure. You've got a limited amount of seniors. I know up front on offense, on the offensive line, I know you got a handful of starters back.
Yeah, Nick Pierce was our center last year, did a fabulous job. And actually, we threw him in. He was kind of going both ways. Had him at guard, had him at tackle, and our center just wasn't doing the job. And really, before week one, the week before week one, we threw him in there. And, I mean, his snaps were on. He was making calls. He's very physical, has great feet, and he did a great job and just kept getting better and better every year. He's gotten a lot stronger now, which I didn't even know was possible for him, because he's in the weight room. He's a specimen to watch lift. Justin Mayfield played a little bit for us. He'll play guard. We had Mustafa Washington, who's only going to be a junior. We brought him up towards the end of the year and played a little bit. Ben Kane's a junior who just started playing football a year ago, and a really smart kid. Does a great job. He's very physical, very strong. Did a great job in fall camp. There's Yusuf Alashur, a senior who played a little bit last year as well. There's Mitch Lurquin, a junior who played a little bit, and we're going to kind of piece some other guys together. And you know, we're going to look at some sophomores. We're going to bring them up, like I said, and look. And we'll see. And, you know, we might have to take a couple D linemen and bring them over like Rashawn King and play a little bit. But we're excited about that. You know, they're going to be young, but we got some experience back. And, you know, we might rotate some guys around just to get ready for next year, to be honest. You know, we might move Nick out here and there just to let somebody else play center and get in that groove and get a little experience to do that.
And you're never light on skills. And I had a chance to see a kid like Santiago Rios this winter, and you got some kids in the skills that might be young, but you got some players there, pal. Yeah,
we're excited. We're trying to, you know, calm some things down, but there's that junior class and the sophomores. It's a good back-to-back class of skill guys, and they're going to be fighting for competition. And that's the best thing, is that when we were in fall camp, they were getting after each other, offensive, defensively, and you know, they were calling each other out, and the competition was outstanding. So sometimes it was a little too amped up, where you're like, "Yo, guys, calm down a little bit." But he's one on the outside that we're very excited about. Runs great routes, gets great separation. He's a three-sport athlete. He plays basketball and baseball, so he's just an athlete who can play. There's a young guy, sophomore, Taranji Eskridge, we're very excited about. A tall, lanky kid, another guy on the outside who can go get it, runs good routes. We have Connor Keating, who's going to play a little bit on the outside. He kind of plays in the slot and outside. A senior kid who he does it all. He blocks. He runs great routes. He catches the ball. He just knows where he's supposed to be. And then we got a couple of very exciting guys that we're excited about in the slot. And Jackson Greer was a junior who played a little bit more running back as a sophomore that we put in the slot a little bit. He'll do both. And then we got a transfer kid, sophomore, Donnie Burton, who is wow. He is electric. That's all. He played against us at Eisenhower as a freshman. And he had the only score against us, and it was just it was eye popping. And when he walked in the door, it was kind of okay, all right, now we got another piece of the pie here. And he came out for fall camp and just he could be on the level of a Castro and LaShawn Williams as being that good. And
wow,
and he does it all. We're gonna have packages for him. He can play in the slot. He can play outside. He can play running back. He can play quarterback. Like he's going to play it all. He's going to play DB. Like he's that. He could be that good. And I could bite my tongue on this, but I'll say by the end of these 6 games, he's the best player in the conference. And there's some guys in this conference, some older guys, but I think he could be in. This young class is very exciting. Then our other slot that we kind of use as an H-back. We got a couple running backs, Ethan O'Day, Jaden Wilson, who transferred from Down and Grove South. They're all gonna kind of rotate in that and play a little bit of H-back and as the running back. And we're very versatile, which is very good. All these guys can move around, and they're all smart football players. That's the best part, is that we put them in different spots every day, and they're picking it up like that, which is going to help us immensely because now we can do some different things. Defensively,
5 starters back, and you got to love it when you got 4 of them basically play linebacker or safety.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Teo Adao, he was up for summer camp a little bit last year and playing linebacker, and then we moved him into what we call like our rover, which is our our overhang nickel back about midway through the year. But as linebacker, his instincts they're freakish. I stood behind and just watched, and he first couple of days of him not even knowing what was going on, but his instincts, and it was like, wow, we haven't seen this in a while, since maybe Romel Hill. Just the instincts of getting to the ball. Aiden Wise came up the whole year, played a great job for us, did an awesome job. Up front, Jordan Tools. He walked in the weight room yesterday and it was like, whoa, what? Okay, you've been working over this COVID, because his body has just dramatically changed. Mustafa Washington played a lot in the playoffs. He's going to have to go both ways as a nose. Rashawn King did a fabulous job. And then, we got another junior linebacker by the name of Roger Belt, who's very intelligent, very thick, very physical. We're looking for him to make the calls and be that Mike backer who gets everybody in line, and he's a thumper. And then DBs wise, we don't have a senior in the DBs. They're all going to be juniors or sophomores, and we are very, very excited about. One is Travis Garman. We're going to put him where we had Castro as the boundary safety, and he's legitimately 6'3", 185, and he's a freak show. His length is it's out of this world. He's going to play a little bit of wide out too on the outside, but he comes up and he wants to just thump you. And his length, covers ground like there's no other, and we're very excited about him. Our corners are young. There's a couple of young guys, sophomore Krishan Heron, juniors Marcus Todd, Christian Jackson, cover safety Samaj Dinwiddie, who can play safety and corner. We're able to move him around. Marion Bell, Ladarius Kelly. So we got a lot of options, and that's the best part, is there's a lot of competition. Like, they're getting pushed every day, and you know what? They love it. They want more, and that's like I said, we're very excited about this group. But we need to play. We need to find out. We need to put some pads on. Yeah. We need to hit. We need to get in some games and see what happens.
And again, the schedule's out. Again, your 6-game schedule: Argo, Shepherd, Oak Lawn, Eisenhower, Evergreen Park, and then, boy, I love this week 6 game. I don't know if you could draw up a bowl game, but if I could draw up a bowl game for the South Suburbs, this week 6 game might be it, taking on Hillcrest.
Yeah, you know what? We kind of as coaches, we already talked like that's our playoff game. That's what we're kind of like. We're going to amp that up as, hey, look, you know, there's no playoffs. There's no, you know, state game, but hey, Hillcrest he's got it going. Morgan does a great job over there. They are loaded. And we're going to treat that as a playoff game. We're going to intensify the week of practice. You know, we're going to say, hey, look, this is it. Let's see. You want to find out how good we are. We're going to find out week 6. I mean, Shepherd's a lot of guys back. That should be a good week too. Evergreen's his junior class. This is the one he was looking at. They should be very good. You know, so we're gonna face some competition, but you know, it's the same thing as, you know, it's spring ball. You know, we're gonna play kids. We're gonna get better. We want to find out who can play, who's gonna make plays. But yeah, week 7, yeah, that's gonna be like playoffs. Here you go, boys. Let's see what we got.
Yeah. Well, hey, you got me fired up, pal, and it's good to talk to you. And again, just get back at it is fantastic. And appreciate you taking time as always, and you know, continue to stay safe, and let's get through this, and let's play some football, and let's start digging over there at Richards. Let's tear that thing up and let's go.
I agree. Thanks for having us on. We appreciate it. It's always great to be here. Thanks, Tim.
All right.